Today's lesson is A Slice of Deli Life. Hello, everyone. I'm Mike.
I am Roger, and today we're going to go to the deli, which is short for delicatessen. It's a kind of place where you can go buy food that's already prepared and you can eat it right away. They are very popular in Western countries. I haven't really seen them too much here in Taiwan. I'm sure they're around somewhere, but they, of course, are very popular in places like New York City, and I'm sure you have a lot of them in Montreal as well, right?
Oh, absolutely. We love our delis. It's kind of taking the French charcuterie, kind of like the butcher place, and then you also take the French fromagerie, the cheese place. You stick them together, and then you might also have a bit of a bakery in there. And the wonderful thing about delis is not only do they have all of these delicious foods laid out in glass cabinets and counters and whatnot for you to look at, they often make sandwiches and fresh soup and stuff like that. Really great places, I think, for lunch, right? Delis are very popular at lunchtime in North American cities. You can find workers in there, from office workers to construction workers to taxi drivers and everyone in between, buying their ham on rye or their challah bread or something, which is a wonderful Jewish bread. And that's another thing, delicatessen. I believe the name may come from German, but they're also closely related to Jewish culture around the world. A lot of these preserved meats and things like that often have a Jewish origin, or just the ownership where they are in the city might be in an old Jewish neighborhood. So there is definitely the Jewish deli. That's a feature, for example, of New York City or somewhere like that. So if you ever get a chance to be overseas and grab a quick lunch at a deli, that would definitely be a memorable and delicious and probably quite affordable meal. So let's find out more about a slice of life at the deli as we join Emma. She is so lucky to be visiting her local deli. A slice of deli life. Buying meats and cheeses. Emma is standing in front of a deli counter, unsure of what to choose. Good afternoon. Can I help you find something or offer some suggestions?
Oh, yes, please. I'm looking for some beef, but there are so many options to choose from.
No problem. Our corned beef is a customer favorite. It's tender and perfectly seasoned with a special blend of spices.
That sounds delicious.
It is, and it pairs wonderfully with Swiss cheese.
What about Munster? I've heard of it but never tried it.
Here, let me give you a sample. Munster is a semi-soft cheese that's mild when young but develops a stronger taste as it ages.
That's lovely. For today, though, I think I'll just take a quarter pound of corned beef and a wedge of Swiss cheese.
Excellent. I'll have that ready for you in just a moment.
大家好，第一部分介绍名词 suggestion， 它的意思是建议或是提议。例如 Keith gave some great suggestions about what we could do this weekend. Keith 就我们这周末可以做什么，给了一些很棒的建议。或者 The article offers useful suggestions for saving electricity. 这篇文章提供省电的使用建议。下一个看到形容词 mild， 表示味道或是食物温和的、清淡的。但同时也可以是轻微的意思。例如 This cheese has quite a mild flavor. 这种 cheese 味道相当温和。或是 Monique had a mild headache, but decided to go to work anyways. Monique 有点轻微头痛，但还是决定去上班。
Okay, so in part one, we are buying meats and cheeses. Meat, of course, is usually non-count. How much meat did you buy? How much meat did you eat? But if you're talking about different kinds of meat, pork, beef, or whatever, mutton, chicken, or whatever, then we make it a countable noun, meats, and the same goes for cheeses as well. We've got red Leicester, cheddar, Edam, etc. Those are different kinds of cheeses. And Emma is standing in front of a deli counter, unsure of what to choose. choose. So maybe she's never been to a deli before, and she's not quite prepared to make her order to the clerk behind the counter. I think I remember my first time in New York City many years ago. I had the same kind of situation. I was in a deli trying to order something. But back then, of course, the clerks had that sort of New York irreverence, okay, that sort of rude attitude they have. What you want to buy? You tell me what you want to buy. If you don't want to buy something, you just get out of here, okay? Don't waste my time. You know, I got other people to. I got other customers here, so get out of here. But, of course, they're much more friendly now, so don't be afraid of that. And, yes, the clerk is very polite here. The clerk says, hey, good afternoon. Can I help you find something or offer some suggestions? So this is a very helpful clerk here, and the clerk is wondering if she has some information that she needs, and he's going to make some suggestions, which means you have some special information that you might tell somebody. Yes, can you give me a suggestion? I know you're expert in music, and I want to buy a musical instrument to study. Can you make some suggestions? Could I buy a violin, or should I buy a trumpet, or whatever?
Exactly right. And yes, if it's your first trip to a deli, you might have some questions. There might be a lot of wonderful things there. Look delicious, and you're just not quite sure what they are. So do go ahead and feel quite free to ask. And so Emma says, oh, yes, please. So she is definitely looking for some help and hopefully some good suggestions too. But she has a basic idea. She says, I'm looking for some beef, but there are so many options to choose from. Okay, well, already there we know we're not going to be looking at some of the pork products or the chicken or turkey that they might have there. They might have pre-made salads. They might even have some things made from fish too, possibly. But she's looking for beef. She's looking for things made from the cow. So the clerk says, no problem. Yes, we definitely have some beef. Our corned beef is a customer favorite. It's tender and perfectly seasoned with a special blend of spices. So there you go. That's one thing that you'll definitely want to try out if you ever get a chance to visit a deli. Some corned beef, maybe some pastrami, some smoked meat if you're in Montreal, where it's very famous. Corned beef is basically preserved beef. So we're taking beef and we're probably not really cooking it at first. You're actually leaving it in salt water. You're kind of pickling it in a way. And then, of course, it might be slow roasted as well. But it is a preserved meat, so it can last for a long time. And like many other preserved meats like this, it's very popular as a sandwich filling. So you can have corned beef and some cheese between a couple of slices of bread. And there you go. There's a tasty sandwich and a tasty lunch. The clerk says it's tender and perfectly seasoned with a special blend of spices. Yes, a lot of delis make themselves famous and develop fans by their different blends of spices, their unique flavorings that they give to their different preserved meat products like corned beef. If something is seasoned, generally with seasoning, we're talking about salt and pepper. So if you're ever watching a cooking show and they say, don't forget to season the chicken before you cook it, they're not really talking about other spices like oregano or thyme or basil or things like that. Generally, when we say seasoning, we're thinking of just simple salt and pepper. But they could have, as the clerk says, some extra spices in there, garlic and things like that, to make it very special tasting. And Emma likes the sound of this corned beef.
Emma thinks that sounds delicious, and the clerk says, it is delicious, take my word for it, and it pairs wonderfully with Swiss cheese. So it will match with Swiss cheese. You can eat them together, and it will be very tasty that way to pair with something. This happens when you want to connect your Bluetooth device to something else. It will pair with the device. You need to do that first in order to get the Bluetooth signal. And Emma has another question about cheese. What about Munster? I've heard of it, but never tried it. So that's a different kind of cheese.
That's absolutely right. Now, of course, this word is not monster. She's not talking about a scary cheese. Munster, I believe, is named after a town in Germany with the same name, Munster. So you can say it very German style, or you can just say sort of Munster. That's kind of okay. She's heard of it, but never tried it. Yeah, it is one of those names we often see in cheese lists or menus, but maybe people don't know what it is. But don't fear, our clerk is here with all the information about these delicious cheeses. So the clerk says, here, let me give you a sample. So not only will he tell her about it, he will let her taste some of it. A sample is a small amount of food that's often given out to customers to introduce them to something. Maybe they'll decide it's great and they'll buy some. If you've ever been to Costco on the weekends, that can be a popular thing. People standing there with a tray and small little cups or little offerings of different foods. So the clerk offers her a small piece. Then as she's chewing it, hopefully enjoying it, the clerk goes goes on to say, Munster is a semi-soft cheese that's mild when young, but develops a stronger taste as it ages. Well, that's good information there. A semi-soft cheese. So it's not a soft cheese. That would be like brie or camembert, those ones that almost seem to melt once they reach room temperature. And not a hard cheese. That would be more like Parmesan. If you've ever bought a block of Parmesan cheese to put on your Italian food, you know, that's very solid, right? If you try to pull it apart, it snaps, almost like it's a piece of soft stone or something. So Munster would be kind of in the middle there. So it's a semi-soft cheese, easy to slice and put on a sandwich, in other words. It's mild, so it's not very strong tasting. When we say mild, talking about flavors, we're just saying not very strong or on the more weak side of the flavor scale. So it's not a very strong cheese when it's young, so when it's first made, but it develops a stronger taste as it ages. So I guess if you have a Munster that's a week old, it will taste different from a Munster that's a few months old or something like that. That's an interesting feature.
I think you can also describe strong cheese as having a sharp quality to it. This is sharp cheddar cheese, for example. So yes, indeed, this cheese will change as it ages. And Emma says, that's lovely. That's wonderful. For today, though, I think I'll just take a quarter pound of corned beef and a wedge of Swiss cheese. So she does think that the Munster cheese sounds very tasty, but she'll save that for another day. Today, she's going to buy some corned beef and she's going to get some Swiss cheese. In this particular case, she's going to get a wedge of Swiss cheese, which is sort of like the shape of a pie, basically, and it's part of the larger wheel of Swiss cheese, I suppose it would be called, and this is just a part, like a piece of Swiss cheese, but it's actually in the shape of a wedge.
There you go. Often those will be around 200 grams of cheese in a typical pre-cut wedge if you're in a deli or a cheese shop. The clerk says, excellent, I'll have that ready for you in just a minute, and I imagine he'll be getting out some of that famous brown paper and wrapping all her meat and cheeses in this lovely brown paper, taping it up, and then she can take that home for lunch. All right, that's part one. Now let's take a quick break and we'll listen to part two, asking about side dishes and specials, just in case you're a little extra hungry. Asking about side dishes and specials. After deciding on a meat and cheese, Emma notices the deli's tempting side dishes.
Oh, those side dishes look amazing. Do you have any specials today?
Absolutely. Our seafood salad is on sale. If you buy 1 pound, you get half a pound free. And we've also got a 10% discount on knishes today.
The seafood salad sounds great. What's in it?
It's a mix of shrimp, crab, and fresh vegetables in a creamy dill dressing. It's very popular.
I'll take a pound of that then. And the knishes, what are they like?
Well, they're freshly baked, of course. And in addition to their flaky golden crust, they're filled with seasoned mashed potatoes. They're really hearty and satisfying.
Okay, I'll take 2 knishes as well, please.
Sounds good. Let me wrap those up for you.
Thanks so much. Everything looks delicious.
Here you go. Enjoy.
Thanks again. I can't wait to dig in.
第二部分看到形容词 tempting， 它的意思是诱人的或是吸引人的。例如 The desserts sitting on the kitchen table looked very tempting. 放在厨房桌上的甜点看起来非常诱人。也可以说 The new job offer was tempting, but John decided to stay where he was for now. 那个新的工作机会很吸引人，但 John 决定暂时留在现在的公司。后面介绍副词 absolutely， 表示绝对的或是确实的。可以说 Marvin is absolutely the best player on the team. Marvin 绝对是队上最棒的球员。又或者说 I am absolutely certain that I can finish the project on time. 我完全有把握可以准时完成这个专案。接着介绍形容词 flaky， 指的是酥脆的，易脆成薄片的。举例来说 The pastries were light and flaky. 该酥饼爽口又酥松。或是 Be careful with that flaky pastry. I don't want you getting crumbs on the sofa. 吃那个易碎的酥皮点心要小心，我不希望你掉碎屑在沙发上。再来看到名词 crust， 表示馅饼酥皮或是面包皮。例如 Benjamin requires the crust to be removed from his sandwiches. Benjamin 要求他的三明治要切边，也可以说 Alfred used butter to make the crust soft and rich in flavor. Alfred 使用奶油使饼皮变得松软且味道浓郁。最后看到形容词 hearty， 表示食物丰盛的，但也可以是精力充沛的意思。可以说 The winter soup was so hearty that it felt like a complete meal on its own. 这道冬季汤品十分丰盛，本身感觉就像是完整的一餐。最后一个例子 Having a hearty breakfast will help keep your energy up throughout the day. 享用丰盛的早餐将有助于你全天保持精力充沛。
Okay, so you can still buy some other things in the deli, and here Emma is asking about side dishes and specials. So a side dish, of course, is something you eat along with the main course. Like if you have steak, you might have potatoes or beans or something. Those would be side dishes. So she's asking about those. She decides on a meat and cheese, and then she notices the deli's tempting side dishes. Of course, yes, if you're at the deli and you're looking through the window there at the counter, some of those things might be tempting. They attract your attention. You look at them and you think, ooh, I'd like to try that.
Yes, they often have pre-made salads and different things like that you can buy and take home in a small container. If something's tempting, it's attractive. It's calling to you. It's saying, I'm delicious. You want me. Or I'm very comfortable. You want to sit on me. It's kind of giving you this feeling of doing something, and maybe you shouldn't really be doing that. If you're on a diet, those cookies could be really tempting. If you come home exhausted, your bed could be very tempting, but then you think, no, if I go to bed now, I'll wake up at midnight and then I won't sleep. And if I eat that cookie, my diet will be ruined, but it's calling to you. It's hard to resist if something is tempting because you want it so much. Anyway, so she sees these dishes and they just all look so delicious. She'd love to buy all 10 of them or whatever, but clearly she can't. But she wants to know a little bit about maybe just one or two that it's okay to bring home. She says, oh, those side dishes look amazing. Do you have any specials today? That's a really good idea. Monday to Friday especially, they might be offering different specials on different days. So if you go in, you might get an extra low price on a certain item.
Right, and the clerk says, absolutely, 100%, of course, no problem. We can do that for you. We do have specials for today. Our seafood salad is on sale. So this would be a salad with lots of seafood in it. If you buy 1 pound of this salad, you get a half pound free. And we've also got a 10% discount on quiches today. I believe a quiche is kind of like a dumpling, something that's round with a shell, I guess, with a crust on the outside and food inside of it.
Yeah, basically that's exactly what we're talking about. That seafood salad sounds great, says Emma. What's in it? So, of course, a salad will be a chopped up combination of things, right? Vegetable salad, you'll have lettuce and onions and carrots and tomatoes and all that kind of stuff in it. What's in the seafood salad? The clerk says it's a mix of shrimp, crab, and fresh vegetables in a creamy dill dressing. The dressing is the sort of sauce that is made to enhance the flavor of the salad. Sometimes you pour the dressing on, like if it's a simple oil and vinaigrette or Caesar salad or something. Sometimes it's what you make when you're actually mixing everything together. Generally, with something like this, the dressing will probably have a mayonnaise base, and then they put some delicious dill herb in it to give it a wonderful flavor. It's very popular, says the clerk.
Right. Remember, dressing is used for salad. Don't say sauce. You say dressing, like Thousand Island dressing is quite popular here in Taiwan. Emma says, I'll take a pound of that then. And the quiches, what are they like? So maybe she's never heard of quiches. Yeah, what are they like? Would I enjoy eating them? And the clerk says, well, they're freshly baked, of course. And in addition to their flaky golden crust, they're filled with seasoned mashed potatoes. They're really hearty and satisfying. So the clerk here has given us a rather detailed description of what quiches are. Of course, they're freshly baked and they have a flaky crust. Flaky means it kind of comes off in little pieces. That's a nice texture to enjoy when you're eating something. And the crust, of course, is the outside. Like a pie will have a crust. Your pizza will have a crust. It's kind of the bread part of the food. And in this particular case, we've got some filling. And the filling is mashed potatoes and maybe some other herbs and spices.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe a few chopped up onions in there or something like that. So it's basically potato wrapped in dough. And that's not too surprising when the clerk then says they're really hearty and satisfying. satisfying. If we describe a food as being hearty, we're kind of saying it's very filling, right? A small bowl will make you feel quite full. Often stews will be described as hearty. There's chunks of meat, there's chunks of vegetables, there's thick, rich gravy in there. And if you have a bowl with maybe a slice of bread on the side, that's all you'll need. It's a very full and filling meal. So that sounds good. And Emma says, okay, I'll take 2 knishes as well, please. So those knishes look absolutely delicious. And like me, it's hard to walk past a deli counter without grabbing a couple of knishes on your way out the door. The clerk says, sounds good. Let me wrap those up for you. So the clerk is appreciating the order and getting everything ready for Emma to take home and eat as soon as she arrives.
She says, thanks so much. Everything looks delicious. And the clerk hands over the bags. I'm sure she paid at some point here. Here you go. Enjoy. And Emma says, thanks again. I can't wait to dig in. To dig in here just means to start eating. She's going to enjoy the food, and she probably will come back to this delicatessen again for more food. Okay, that brings us to the end of our discussion for today. Here comes Hanny.
各位同学大家好，我是 Hanny。 我们来看今天的文法重点。在课文第一部分的对话里， Emma 对熟食柜台的店员说， I'm looking for some beef, but there are so many options to choose from. 我想买一些牛肉，不过可以选择的东西太多了。那文中他用到 look for， 这表示寻找。我们这边要补充几个跟动词 look 相关的片语。第一个补充的是 look up something， 也可以说 look something up， 这是表达查询、查阅某事物，像是 look up a word in the dictionary， 就是表达在字典上查单字。那如果是不及物用法，Look up， 它可以表达情况好转、渐有起色，意思就相当于 improve 或者是 get better。那补充一下，如果是 look up to somebody， 则是表达尊敬、敬仰某人。例如 Frank has always looked up to his oldest brother。Frank 一直都很敬仰他大哥。好，那第二个补充的片语是 look after， 这表示照顾，意思就跟 take care of 差不多，后面可以接人或事物。例如 They asked a friend to look after their cats while they were away. 他们请一位朋友在他们外出的时候帮忙照顾猫。那第三个补充的是 look to。 Look to 后面接人当受词，表示指望仰赖某人，常常用来表达期待对方提供某些协助。像 Tina always looks to her sister for advice. Tina 总是向姐姐寻求建议，她总是仰赖姐姐提供她建议。特别注意，如果是用 look to 加上原形动词，这则是表达计划、打算做某事，那常常用进行式表达。例如They're looking to adopt a cat， 就是表达他们打算要领养一只猫。好，在今天的两段对话里面有出现几次 look 和 sound， 像是 That sounds delicious， 或是 Those side dishes look amazing， The seafood salad sounds great， 还有像是 Everything looks delicious。 那这边我们就来介绍一下跟感官有关的连缀动词。 Sound 听起来， Smell 闻起来， Taste 尝起来， Look 看起来， feel 感觉起来等等。那这些跟感官相关的连缀动词后面可以接形容词，或者是接 like 加名词。我们这边就来造几个例句。例如 The song sounds beautiful， 这首歌听起来很优美。 The food tastes kind of like tofu， 这食物尝起来有点像豆腐。或是 The building looks cool，It looks like a spaceship， 这栋建筑物看起来很酷，它看起来像一艘太空船。好，那以上就是今天的重点整理，我们来回顾今天的单字吧。
Suggestion. Tom's suggestion that we leave early to avoid traffic turned out to be wise. Mild. The tea has a mild sweetness, with hints of honey and strawberry. Tempting.The restaurant's dessert menu was filled with tempting choices like cake, pie, and ice cream. Absolutely. Can we trust Maxine to handle this task?
Absolutely. She knows exactly what to do.
Dressing. Lawrence poured a creamy ranch dressing over the freshly made salad. Hearty. For dinner, Ava ate a hearty soup filled with vegetables and tender beef.
Well, that brings us to the end of another edition of our program, and please make sure you join us again next time. From all of us here, I am Roger.
I am Mike.
See you next time.